I've had this coral for years, and today we're gonna frag it up. Hi, my name is Remy, and welcome back to another Brightwell Aquatics video. Today, I'm going to show you how to frag sarcophyton, or toadstools, as it's commonly referred to in the hobby. I've slowly been moving corals out of the lagoon tank that I've had for the past 5 years. It's been a good run, but it's time to reset. This tank has been the home to one of my favorite corals in the entire hobby, and that is the long polyp leather or weeping willow leather. I've already started to move some of those pieces into an aquarium that I set up last year. This tank will feature nothing but softies. I say that, but let's be honest, I have been known to stray from a tank theme from time to time. Two objectives for today. Objective number one is to thoroughly inspect the corals to make sure that we're not bringing any pests over into the new tank, because I guarantee you there are pests in my lagoon. And we'll also make sure that these frags are properly disinfected and ready for the move over to the new tank. Softies are generally easy to frag, but they're a little more difficult to mount. It's not as easy as Acropora, where you make a fragment and you just put glue on a plug and then put the new frag on the glue and boom, you've got a frag. It doesn't generally work with leathers because leathers like to slime up. And while your glue may hold the leather down initially, it will eventually float off when that slime coat breaks the bond. For supplies, I have the initial bowl for inspection and treatment. This has a white bottom, so we'll be able to see anything that comes off of these frags. A bowl for disinfection, and a bowl for the rinse. A razor blade, a brush, some elastic bracelet material that I stole from the arts and crafts closet, and some rubble for mounting. You can also use frag plugs here. And for all this, you're gonna wanna use tank water. So I like to time out a water change with the fragmenting session so that I have some extra water to replace the water that I take from the tank. This doesn't make a huge difference to you guys with huge tanks, but for those of us with smaller tanks, when you're taking a half gallon of water, that can make your ATO go crazy. And you definitely don't want your salinity to drop. In the first bowl, I'm gonna use a tool called Koral MD. This is our frag dip. This is amazing stuff. You're gonna love it. And you always want to dip your corals. I don't care who you got them from or how clean they say they are, always dip your corals with Koral MD first. This will help in transferring coral from tank to tank if you have multiple tanks in your house. This will also help when you're ordering frags online, you go to the local fish store, or maybe you hit up a frag swap. If you can help it, you don't want any of those pests getting into your tank, and Koral MD can prevent some of that from happening. It's a safe, broad spectrum dip that's light on corals, but reduces the risk of introducing diseases or parasites into your display system. And then we'll just kind of swish this around a little bit and see if anything comes off. What's nice about softies is there's not gonna be a whole lot on them. Now, if you bring them with a rock, like if they're attached to a rock and you bring a rock into the situation, then yeah. But as you can see, there are some flatworms coming off this toadstool, which I totally expected. This lagoon has had flatworms for a couple years now. This should always be used as a dip. Never dose this into your tank directly. In the second bowl, just a couple drops of our Lugol's solution. This is going to disinfect those fresh cuts. Remember, we are cutting tissue, and the last thing you want to do is introduce some sort of bacterial infection into the tank that it's going into. Or it could potentially harm the frag as well. A little Lugol's goes a long way. So why does Lugol's work, and why do coral farms across the country trust Lugol's when they're disinfecting their corals? Well, iodine is a disinfectant. It also promotes faster tissue regeneration and reducing the risk of necrosis or slime-related stress after fragging. Toadstools are generally hardy corals. They're pretty easy to frag and they do pretty well afterwards, but I always use Lugol's to improve those chances. In the third bowl is just clean tank water. Like I said earlier, you don't want to dose any of these into your tank directly. Iodine, you could, but that's a whole different video. We'll get into that at some point, but you definitely don't want that Koral MD going into your tank, so we rinse the frags before we put them back in. All right, so the most common way to cut these is just to go right around the crown, leaving the trunk intact. Take your razor blade and you go all the way around. You can use scissors if you've got sharp scissors that are clean. I like using razor blades because I can use a new one every time. And you just kind of go all the way around the crown. Now you've got a little nub of what was your toadstool and the crown. From here, we will cut these up into sections. And out of this, we could probably get 4. So let's go ahead and cut those up. You don't want to make them too small, and you want something to be able to, you know, attach the elastic to. All right, now that we've got each one of these cuts, we're gonna go ahead and just put these immediately into the Lugol solution here. We will return the main trunk back to the tank that it came from to grow out again. So a little trick to this, if you do have glue and you do have some quick set, you can just put a little dab on the bottom of your rock and take your piece of choice. Set it on the top of the rock. Pull the elastic band around so that both sides meet that glue on the bottom. You're not pressing on it too hard because you don't want to sever the tissue. Hit this little dot with a little quick set, let that set, and now you don't have to tie the elastic on there, which is nice. And now you've got it secure to the rock so it can adhere itself to it when it heals. And it's super clean. We'll put this into the rinse bucket. There are a bunch of techniques whenever you're mounting soft corals. I like the rubber band or elastic band trick over everything else because I just feel like it works the best. You can also use a plastic box or a 3D printed basket or something like that. Put rubble at the bottom of that in a low flow area of your tank. Those toadstools will eventually just adhere themselves to that substrate, whatever you have it on, and then you can easily transfer over. But you gotta make sure it's in a low flow area. You don't want these things whipping all around because they'll never attach at that point. The only caveat when you're mounting them with a rubber band or this bracelet elastic is that you don't want to get it too tight. If you do get it too tight, which I've done a lot in the past, it will make 2 frags, which I guess isn't always a bad thing, but if you don't want to sever that tissue, just make sure that it's not too tight. So these will attach over the next couple weeks. Some take longer than others, so just be patient with it. Once that's happened, you can snip that elastic bracelet band or the rubber band, glue the rubble to your rock structure or wherever you want to put that, and let it grow. For me, when I first started in the hobby, and even today, fragging was just one of those things that I really enjoyed doing. It was so much fun to take a little tiny piece of a coral and then grow it up to something big. I mean, I've had a lot of these toadstools in my care for over 5, 6, 7 years at this point, and a lot of them have been fragged several times, and very tiny pieces will end up growing up into big mother colonies. So it's rewarding, it's fun, and maybe from a financial standpoint could help you buy, you know, a bucket of neomarine salt or, you know, some of the supplies, maintenance gear, things that you might need for your reef tank to thrive. You can most certainly find Koral MD and Lugols at your local fish store or your favorite online retailer. As always, we have more at brightwellaquatics.com. I've got more videos like this coming your way. If you could, please subscribe to the channel as we grow. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy fragging, and I'll see you in the next one.